Hi guys, welcome back to the internet. I'm Issy from EnglishWithIssy.com, and in this video today we are going to do a mock C1 Advanced Cambridge Speaking exam, formerly known as the CAE exam. We're lucky today that we have two fantastic students who are going to be participating. One is Daria, who is an incredible Russian woman who has recently passed her C1 Advanced exam, so it's definitely worth a watch. And the other girl is a Brazilian primary school coordinator who is very familiar with the structure of the exam. In this video, I'm also going to include my comments on things that they did really well and things that you guys can implement when you take your speaking exam, or if you're a teacher, notes that you can learn from as well to help your students. So grab a notebook and let's jump right in. Good morning. My name is Issy, and your names are?
Hello, I'm Daria.
Hello, Issy. My name is Bruna.
All right. Bruna, where are you from?
I'm from Brazil and I currently live in Rio de Janeiro.
And you, Daria?
I'm living in Finland, but originally I'm from St. Petersburg, Russia.
Wonderful. Bruna, how long have you been studying English?
Well, I have been studying English for about 10 years, and I first took an English course, and then I have been studying English by myself.
Okay. And Daria, what do you enjoy most about learning English?
The most I enjoy is that I can make friends with all the internationals. That's actually how I ended up in Finland. I met some friends while I was living in Russia, and then we of course communicated using English. And later on, I started my life in Finland.
Wonderful. Okay, Bruna, how important do you think it is to speak more than one language?
I believe nowadays it's really, really important to speak more than one language because the world needs us to speak one language besides ours. So I believe it's important due to professional opportunities as the most importantly.
Very good. Daria, what has been your most interesting travel experience?
The most interesting travel experience I had when I was traveling on my own, because I had to rely only on myself, and I could do whatever I want, so prioritizing my things, like my own things. And that was great. I met some friends, some locals, more communication usually also because of that.
Wonderful. Okay, so guys, in this part of the test, I'm going to give each of you 3 pictures, okay? I'd like you to talk about 2 of them on your own for about a minute, and also to answer a question briefly about your partner's photos. Bruna, it's your turn first. Here are your pictures. They show people doing things together. I'd like you to compare 2 of the pictures and say why the people might be doing these things together and how they might be feeling. All right?
Right. Well, answering the question, why might people be doing these things together? I believe the first picture, I can see people skiing, so they're probably on vacation, having a great time together. And speaking of the third picture, these guys are playing instruments, so I believe they enjoy music. So that's why one is playing the drum and the other one is playing the guitar. And I also enjoy music, so yeah. And the first one, I really enjoy the winter, so I would probably go skiing someday soon. And yes, I believe the first one, they enjoy going skiing because they do love the winter. Yeah, they are not in a hot place. And the third one, I believe they are in a kind of studio or somewhere where they have the opportunity to play together and record some songs. And yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you. Okay, now, Daria, in which situation do you think people benefit most from being together?
Well, I think that on the third picture, as we see like guys playing together, that's some kind of like team thing. They are not just like getting together, like they of course like obviously get together, and at the same time they are doing like common thing like together, which is really helpful. And yeah.
So now, Daria, here are your pictures. They show students doing different activities. I'd like you to compare two of the pictures and say how students can benefit from doing these different activities and how helpful the activities might be in preparing them for their future lives. All right?
Okay, I'm going to talk about the pictures on the left and on the right. On the first picture on the left, we see a lady sitting in somewhere in the library, most probably. She's reading a book, probably she's a student, so exploring like some information for her studies. On the second picture, we see the group of people. I assume they are constructing something, probably that's some kind of like team game. They also can be students which have like some seminar or all together. I believe that both these activities are like quite helpful in the future lives, since on the first picture, like as we see like the lady, she's like getting to know like some information from the books, and that's that's quite useful skill, like to get some information from whatever is your source. And
thank you. All right, so now Bruna, which of these activities do you think is the most useful?
Well, I believe the third picture, I suppose it's the most useful because you are able to work in groups, so it's important to share knowledge and help each other. So I believe it would be the most useful, like for kids and teenagers and adults, to learn how to work in groups.
Okay, now I'd like you to talk to something together for about 2 minutes. Here are some of the things that people often have to make decisions about and a question for you to discuss. First, you have some time to look at the task. Now, talk to each other about what people might have to consider when making these decisions.
Can I start?
yeah, please.
All right, so answering the question, why might people have to consider when making these decisions, I believe that starting a family is really important because you need to consider like how financially wealthy you are, and also it's important to choose where you're going to live with your family. What do you think, Daria?
Well, I agree with you. That's the important step, and you have to consider also like the some family matters, like taking into account maybe some traditions of the family you're getting in. Well, what about finding a job? That's, I believe, is like quite considerable thing.
Yeah.
The first thing that
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, the first thing that's come to my mind is that while you are searching and like a new position, you have to evaluate the skills that you have nowadays, because even you are just a beginner or you are like professional already. Anyway, you have to evaluate like what soft and hard skills you have, and then like to focus which maybe industry you would like to work. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you, but I also believe that when you're going to find a job, you need to take into account like the location where the company is, because if it's far away from your house or it's near your house, so you need to, yeah, give importance to this factor as well. But I also think that moving to another country is something, it's a big deal because when we're choosing a country to move, you need to consider the currency, if you need a visa to live there. So yeah, I believe, what do you think?
Okay. Sorry, guys. Have to stick to the time limit. But that was good. That was so much better than the first time. That was really good. And did you realize that you were both, sorry, I'm shouting. Did you realize that you're both focusing on very specific points? You mentioned finances. Daria, you mentioned soft and hard skills. And I was like, wow, this is such good like work terminology. So that's really going to, well, I'm sure that already really worked in your favor when you did your speaking exam. So that's really good. Now comes the slightly harder part, which is where I'm going to ask you guys to make a decision together. Okay, it's the second part of speaking part 3, the same as in the FCE exam. So what the examiners really want to see is your negotiation skills. So I'm going to ask you guys, well, I'll tell you already, but the question will be, now you have a minute to decide in which situation it's the most important to make the right decision. So as long as you guys maybe mention which one you're definitely not, I normally recommend my students say, well, I definitely don't think it's this one because of this reason. And I would like there to be a bit of a dialogue in some part. So Daria might say, Bruna, which one would you go for? Or what do you think about choosing this one? Just so there's at least a little bit of a negotiation. And if you can at the end, be like, great, we've decided that this one is the most important decision to make. Okay, so the examiner would say, thank you. Now you have about a minute to decide in which situation it's the most important to make the right decision.
Would you like to start?
Well, I think that like since I have an experience, like moving to another country might be one of the most challenging decision you have to do. Just because you have to consider like so many things, especially if you are moving not only by yourself but also with the family or partner. What about you? Will you agree with me?
Yeah, I do agree with you. As we have spoken about all the other aspects, I believe moving to another country is the biggest decision in someone's life. So I do agree with you. Okay, so I believe we have made one decision that, yeah, moving to another country is, yeah, the most important decision.
Okay, not bad, not bad. Now you guys are going to have a bit more freedom, which is nice in speaking part 4. You can feel free to give longer answers, to go deeper into your ideas, but still remember that the, I guess, foundation or the most important factor in this exercise is still interacting with your partner. Okay, so my first question for you is it best for people to make decisions on their own or to ask others for advice? Daria.
Well, in my opinion, it's better, of course, like to make your own decision, but it would be nice also to hear like different opinions and different perspectives from other people, for example, from the family or friends, depends on the topic. But anyway, like the final decision, it should be also like it should be mainly like your own responsibility. You should like take all the risks, consider like all the other factors. What about you, Bruna? Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, I do agree with you because maybe we all have experienced something like that. When we're about to choose something and sometimes we regret, or sometimes we are really pleased for our decision, but we always have to take the responsibilities for our decisions.
Good. Bruna, some people think it's best to plan their lives carefully and others prefer to make spontaneous decisions. What's your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, I believe there are some areas in our lives that we must plan, but others we can like live like spontaneously, because speaking of jobs or family, I believe we need to plan. It's important, but others like where to go on vacation or where like to spend your weekend is not so much important to plan. No, what do you think, Daria?
Well, I partly agree with you. I'm thinking that spontaneous decisions can be done on the things like get together with friends or go for some entertainment. That's kind of thing I believe that's like not that significant in your life, so you can do it really spontaneously. While like the really significant parts of your life, as you already mentioned, like the studies or like planning your job, that's definitely should be like plan in advance.
Wonderful. Why do you think some people find it harder to make decisions than others?
Well, the thing, first thing that came to my mind is that some people are afraid of taking some responsibility and risks, and well, it's much easier like to rely on some of your relatives, or maybe like on the family or partner to make the decision instead of you. That's why we're usually actually asking like some of the opinions. Bruna, will you support me in this?
Yes, yeah, I will, because it's important when you know that you have people to have your back. Yeah, like you can count on your family, your friends, and then you can choose because you know that you have people to support you or whenever you need them. You know, so yeah, I also agree with you.
All right. Do you think countries should work together to solve environmental problems, Bruna?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. Do you think countries should work together to solve environmental problems?
Oh, yes, indeed. Because, for example, in my country, we are connected with some other countries around, like Brazil, because it's not only Brazil, because we have here the Amazon. So the Amazon, it's part of different countries. So they work together to try and save the environment, like due to some climate changes and everything. So it's important to be connected with the country so you can need their help. So what about you, Daria?
Well, I agree with you, and also I think that developed countries, well, since they are like more wealthy rather than like developing countries, should support special programs in the other countries, which is usually we see somehow like related to the size of the country. So like for example, like European countries, they should support like the bigger neighbors, otherwise because they produce much more fumes and much more like they unfortunately they like not countries themselves, but their factories and the way they live unfortunately destroy the environment. So it's better like if we if like the all the countries will get together like to support the others.
Thank you. That is the end of the test. All right, guys, you did it.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to leave this call now. But yeah, do you mind if I ask you guys just one more question before I let you go?
Sure.
Okay. If you had to give one piece of advice to people studying for a Cambridge English exam, what would you tell them?
Well, you need to spend time studying and dedicate time. It's not only a part of your life. It's like if you're taking the exam or if you're about to take the exam, focus on the exam, and you'll be like worthy the time spent.
Well, I would definitely recommend to take a course. I'm speaking from my perspective when I was taking FC and CAE. At least like the compact version of any course preparing for the exam is needed. Otherwise, it might be really challenging, like to practice, to put enough effort, to take enough time. And like doing something like together in the group, it might be really helpful.
Wonderful. I think those are very valid points, actually, because a lot of people go into the exam without preparing. And you guys both know from experience that there's so much like exam structure and strategy that needs to be learned. Just like from the speaking exam we just did, like there are so many ridiculous activities where you have to know what they want from you to be able to do it well. And Bruna, you're completely right that it requires time. It's a long exam. It's a very long exam. And yeah, I think these will be good reminders for people who are going to take them. I very much appreciate this, and I'm sure there will be a good handful of students who also do as well. I hope you guys found this video really useful, and I have lots more mock exams, interviews with teachers, grammar classes, vocabulary classes, which I'm going to be uploading soon. So if you don't want to miss those, then click on the subscribe button. Also, activate those notifications so as soon as I upload a video, you don't miss out. Also, during the mock exam, I put up a picture of my speaking phrase list, which lots of students are finding really useful to help them pass their B2 first or their C1 advanced exam. So if you're preparing for one of these exams, or if you are an English teacher and would like to get your hands on some really good phrases which will make your students' answers really pop in the exam, then it's completely free. So just click on the link below in the caption and grab a copy. Bye for now, friends.